let me ask you this right here. So, I want you to think about, and what we're going to talk about is leadership, the evolution of leadership. So, I can remember, man, okay, let's go back. And if I say back in the day, I'm talking the 80s, early 80s, when I probably got my first job, like when I was 8th or 9th grade, maybe. 8th or 9th grade, maybe 8th, as a bagger. You know, I can remember being, and my boss, it was with Duckworth's. And I can remember how, man, you know, in the store owner, this was the store owner, the name of the store was Duckworth. And I can remember, because I used to sell newspaper out front, me and my cousin. And I can remember the way they taught me to do things was like, hey, you do it like this, you know, the hands-on, they showed you, and if you got it wrong, they kind of showed you again, and then the trial, and I'm talking about the trial and error, and this is the boss, and then everybody that work, other people that work, like the cashier or the floor managers and stuff, I don't know the exact titles, but I just call them that. It was like, man, it was okay to develop and learn the system, and everybody pulled you over and showed you how to press the buttons on the things that tracked grocery items. And, you know, even to me as a bagger, hey, come look at this, let me show you what I'm doing. And then I fast forward to joining the military, because that was my next, well, I worked at a restaurant as a porter. And if anybody don't know what a porter does, you make sure all the supplies and everything is available for everybody. Like, you fill the flour bins up so the cook got flour. Put the porter bag in. You keep everything topped off. You go outside on the floor and you help clean up stuff, right? You know, it's people getting the dishes and stuff off the table, cleaning up. The porter did all these cleanup tasks and to make sure everybody was available. And
kind of like a busboy.
Yeah, kind of like a busboy, but they called it in the 80s porter. Early 80s, I was a porter. It was a buffet restaurant.
Okay.
Right? And man, I just kept stuff in the back ready. I just come out front, wipe off the buffet areas where everybody done left bacon and ranch dressing on everything, or spilled beans, and keep all that clean. And I don't remember anybody showing me how to do anything. Like, none of the leadership, I never met them. And this is the early 80s. It was like the people that I worked with would kind of show me, but no leadership ever showed me. And I remember this specifically because I started washing dishes. That's why I used to be back hustling them dishes, man. I remember that vividly with saucers, getting them clean and getting it back out, right? And then they say, hey, we're gonna promote you because Billy quit. I'm just saying a fictitious name. And they said, you're the porter. All right, go in there and start working. I'm like, oh man, what do I do? So it was all trial and error. Then I fast forward to the military, and it takes me back to the early 80s when I worked at the grocery store as a bagger. Man, that system was crawl, walk, run. You get in here, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. I'm gonna show hands on, and now let's go do it. And one of the things and one of the unique ways that we met, and I think I had been in the Army 5 years or so before we met. About 5 years before we met. My first unit, my first organization, man, that's what it was all about. It was about get in here, let me show you. And there was no limits to what they showed you. Like, and when you have somebody hungry, boom, 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 you just go up and you learn everything real quick. And every level of the organization, they taught you hands-on. Trial and error was there, but it wasn't magnified. Like today, and I'll get to that piece, and I'll give you the mic back, or I'll give you that conversation piece back, is that, man, I can remember, the sergeant got me, like, let's go. Let's get in here. This is how you do this. Let me show you. This is the time you need to do, performance measures, right? This is how long you have to do it. Go. And you mess up, nope, do it again. Nope, do it again. And then you got it, and then you really had it. And then I learned now this, and I'm talking the military, right? And I learned over those 28 plus years I did in that went up, that evolved into not being the case in most cases, where you got in there, you got that good developmental training at every level of your walk in the military, from the junior enlisted, the worker bees, to the supervisors, to the people running the organizations. And it became where, and I have to say this, it became to where it was people trained the people they liked. People trained the people, I'm talking the hands-on stuff. The personable step-by-step performance measures. It became, hey, if you're part of this group, we're going to show you these things. If you're not, you're going to trial and error a lot. Get with somebody just get with somebody, figure it out. And I can.
But that's life. I mean, if you're on a job and you start a new job even today, people are gonna put interest in the people. They're gonna invest in what they like.
Correct.
Basically. What they don't like, they hoping that, okay, this was a mistake hire. And if you look at the military, it's not even a hire. It's like, hey, we got this dud that just came in, so what we hoping to do is he step on it so we can get rid of it. So they don't care if you learn or not.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. But it's evolved with the passing of years, right? Because that was the way back. Think about when you got your first job, right? And you're North Carolina, I'm South Carolina. When you got your first job.
My first job, of course, my granddaddy was on a construction company, so that was just hammering nails and moving boards for him at like 4 years old. But my first real job was I was working at Cape Fear Country Club.
You was working where?
At Cape Fear Country Club.
Cape Fear?
Cape Fear Country Club.
Oh, that was a movie, right?
Yeah.
At the same place.
Yeah.
That was North Carolina.
Cape Fear is about the Cape Fear River. The Cape Fear River there's in the Wilmington, North Carolina.
And that's the movie though.
Yeah. But
okay.
So Cape Fear is that area around Wilmington and so. But anyhow, so I was working at Cape Fear Country Club, and when I started, I went there and the guy asked, he said, have you ever washed dishes before? I said, nope. I was 13 years old. And he said, well, here's the dishwasher. This guy show you how to wash dishes. But could you imagine a person, now it seems like he was old, but the first guy that was supposed to train me, out of the 3 guys that was back there, I was the only guy that hadn't been to prison. Because this is what you got to look at. This was in 1978.
Okay.
So, we coming out of the civil rights era. We had to say, people wasn't politically correct. This is a club where all the wait staff was black, all the kitchen staff, with the exception of the cooks. They only had 1 black cook. All the rest of the cooks was white. All the dishwashers was black. All the bus boys was black. No black women. No women, period, was on the wait staff. Because this was a golf country club. So it had that old...
Were you dressed in black and white as well?
Well, they had on the upstairs staff. They wore the little half tuxedo jackets that was gold, with the black pants and the black white shirt and the black bow tie. I can see that now.
Oh yeah. You bring the penguin.
Yeah. And then downstairs there was a guy named Bubba, and Bubba's favorite word was like it's cetamorphic. It's cetamorphic. He used to, like, whenever you, instead of saying something was good, he was like, hey Bubba, it's Cedar Morford, big guy. But he worked this special place. It was a lounge down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And
the boom boom room.
The boom boom room, yes. Okay. For these upper class movers and shakers that, you know, but they only had one waiter that was allowed to go down there.
Okay.
And that was him. And back in the day, this was a lot of money. He used to make $200 a night in tips. Yeah. You know, so he was
balling.
Oh yeah,
out of control.
Yeah. And so, but when I got there, think about it. You got a 13-year-old kid, and with the rest of these men was in between the age of probably 25 and 35 was the other dishwashers.
Mm-hmm.
What you think they was going to teach me about dishwashing? First of all, I ain't telling them how old I was, you know.
You're just a big guy.
Yeah. And I just came there, and when I made a mistake, mistakes was costly. Hey man, you don't know what you're doing. Move out the way. We behind on these dishes. You just get over there and stack.
Trial and error.
Yeah.
It was the environment. So you bringing that makes total sense. It's the environment that you're in, right?
Yes. It wasn't. I'm not teaching you anything. Either you learn it or you get ran over. And so since you having a hard time learning, you get over there and stack. You get on pots and pans. You know, because you didn't want to get on pots and pans. Exactly. You might remember how dishwasher was.
No, 100% I do.
If you was on plates, if you was on the machine, that's just rinsing and putting them in the rack. You know, but if you on pots and pans, dude.
You scrub.
Oh yeah. Hey man, you putting in work.
That's not clean. It's still food in there.
Oh yeah. You putting in work. So, so it was one of them things where, okay, do you want to be on pots and pans, especially on Sundays, you know, Saturdays and Sundays, and you're in there, you know, if you going to work, you're gonna sit up there and scrub pots and pans for the, you know, if you're there 6 hours, 4 hours, or however long you're there, you scrubbing pots and pans, and so. I learned at an early age. Then, when I had the opportunity to get on the dishwasher, I got on there and self-taught. I got on those on that thing, and I learned how to sling dishes. And then next thing you know, now when those same guys come in there, now I can tell them I got it, because they know, hey. This young dude done got faster than all of us. So, okay, I stack. You can go, hey, go ahead, Mel. You can go and get on, you can go on and get at the sink. So, I'm loading the dishwasher because I'm at the point where I'm rinsing. You know how you got that thing and you rinse the dishes, throw them in there, wow. And I'm got to the point where, you know, I'm getting it done. So, and that's been the storyline of my life. It's like everywhere I go, I'm put in a situation. Like when I got your first duty station, I was listening to you. Your first duty station compared to my first duty station was completely different.
Completely different.
Because of the simple fact, I went to an artillery unit as a truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
So by me going there as a truck driver, and I'm going there post-Vietnam. So my whole chain of command, with the exception of one person, was Vietnam vets. So, and they was artillerymen. And all of a sudden, here this guy come on, because this when the Army just started putting, you know, this was in 1986, you know. So now the Army's starting to put truck drivers in field artillery units. So they didn't know what to do with a truck driver. So when I came there, and even though I was in service battery, ammo platoon, they was like, nah, this is the salute battery. We actually had Pack 75 cannons, and we was the 7th ID salute battery. So in other words, we went to ceremonies and we fired these cannons. So when I got down, I was like, well, son, I'm a truck driver. He was like, no, you're not. You're a soldier. This artillery.
100%.
And so I learned how to break down a Pack 75. And
it's pretty easy though.
Yeah,
they put one big block in it.
Yeah, And then
grease it up good.
grease it up good. And then the thing about it, by being a salute battery, you know, everything had to be dressed right, dressed and
Correct.
pretty. So every gold fixture on this mug had to be brasso and signed.
Yes, sir.
You know, that breech had to be taken out of there and clean, you know, where, you know, even after you put grease on it, that mug still got to glisten.
Correct.
You know, then, you know, if you had any chip paint, but you know, it was a, but I
It was
learned
pride in that work.
yeah,
Hands on.
it was a when I got there, usually you have the person that pulled the lanyard,
Yep. That was always me.
and then you had the guy who loaded the round.
Michelle. Mhm.
And he'd like in the ceremony, he'd be the guy that's on his knees the whole time. And then you had the chief of the gun, and he'd stand at the edge of the gun, and he'd stand up there with his hand up, waiting on the lieutenant to point. When he point, he drop his hand. When he drop his hand, I pull the lanyard. So usually that was to the chief was the usually an E5. The person pulled the lanyard was an E4, and the person who loaded the cannon was usually the lowest ranking person. But when I got there, Cadona, he was like, didn't speak very good English, and he was like, I load, that's what I do. I don't want to know how to, I don't want to pull the lanyard. I don't like it. And so I said, okay, I do it. So I instantly never really, you know, I knew how to do it, but I never, from day one, I was catapulted into a senior position. And then it goes back to when I was a dishwasher, I was catapulted into a leadership position, you know, and I skipped over my second job, talking about being catapulted. I stayed as a dishwasher. At 15 years old, I became the head dishwasher.
So you was there 2 years?
No, I was there for 3 years.
No, I'm saying 2 years. So you total 3 years?
Yeah, I was total there for 3 years.
2 years you got promoted?
At the 2-year point,
got it.
I can't remember my boss' name, but who cares? He came in there one day, and he was like, hey, I'm going to make you the head dishwasher. What the head dishwasher meant was that you just got more hours. You know, you ain't never get on pots and pans unless you wanted to get on pots and pans.
2 years.
Yeah, at 2 years, man. Hey, man, I'm big time, bro. You know, did I make any more money? I think I was making $3.35 an hour. I think I still made $3.35 an hour, but I was the head dishwasher.
Yeah.
So once I became head dishwasher, you know, catapulted again. I'm 15 years old. I'm still in junior high school. You know, could you imagine that? 15 years old. But now, remember, I'm at a country club where they have no black members still. And now, so you talking about this is 1980, you know, still no black members, you know, everybody there that we was there for them. That was our job. So, but I was happy just to be like in a supervisory type role. So let's fast forward. So now I'm 16, and my two brothers left to go in the military. My brothers was born, their birthdays was 6 days apart. They both left to go in the military like 10 days apart. And you have to realize the way that me and my brothers and my mom grew up. My mom had me when she was 18. She had my oldest brother when she was 13. And then she later turned 14 a month later. So, and then she had my next brother when she was 16. So my mom basically grew up with us. And so it cost us everything we did together. So I was never anywhere without my brothers. So all of a sudden, at 16, my brothers left. So they left like the first week of July, first and second week of July. The third week of July, I'm sitting at the house way before cell phones. Phone rings. This lady named Helen Flowers, I never forget her. And I said, she answered the phone. She said, "Hello, my name is Helen Flowers. I'm calling from New Hanover Memorial Hospital. May I speak to Mel Evans?" Okay, my brother's name is Melton. My name is Melvin. Kind of confusing, right? So I said, "This is Mel." She's like, "Mel, I see you fill out an application here at the hospital, and we want to know, would you like to come in for an interview?" And I was like, "Sure." And then I said, "Now, are you talking about Melton or Melvin?" Now, this is the difference between nowadays and back in the day, right? She said, "I'm talking, oh, this is Melton." I said, "Well, I'm Melvin." She said, "Well, do you need a job?" I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "Well, come on in for an interview." Went in for the interview. Now, mind you, I'm 16 years old. I got a full mustache. I'm same size I am, same height, not the same size. I'm 6'2", look like a grown man. I go in this interview. She never asked me how old I am. Never. We go through this complete interview. She tell me about the job, and I said, "Well, I'm still in school. I'm a junior in high school, right? And I get hired as a nursing assistant for an operating room at 16 years old. Once again, I'm catapulted to a different level. And so I worked there. I started work, and so that's why I didn't play football my junior year, because it was like, "Hey, Melvin, football practice start to that." And I was like, "I can't do it. I got to work. It's just me and my mom, and we're not going to lose this house." And I got a full-time job because I told them I'm in school, and they said, "Well, what time can you be to work?" They said the shift starts at 2:45. I got out of school at 2:30, and it was about a 10-minute drive from my school to the hospital. And so at 16 years old, a junior in high school, I'd seen my first surgery.
Okay.
What
was that like? What was that type surgery?
The first surgery I seen was actually, and I mess up the words, so I'm gonna just use layman's term. It was actually brain surgery, and this guy had a tumor, and they had to, go in and pull the tumor out. And so as the mid-shift orderly, basically what it was is most surgeries back in the day, most surgeries was done during the day. And then in the afternoon, everything we did was carryovers from the day and emergency surgeries. So what happened is so our job was to sterilize usually by no later than 6 o'clock, all the surgeries was over. So our job was to pull all the furniture out of the room. That's why they had all guys on the mid shift.
Okay.
We pull all the furniture out of the operating rooms. And we had a machine where we went through and sterilized the floor, wiped down all the equipment, and closed the rooms, right?
Okay.
And prepare them. And then the nurses would come in, and their job was to prepare the room for the first surgery the next day. And so this was my job at 16 years old. And so I stayed there almost a year. June comes around. And when June comes around, once again, I do something that I moved to an advanced level. May of my junior year, the recruiter, I take the ASVAB test and did well on it. The recruiter comes up to me and say, "Hey, do you want to join the Army?" I was like, "Sure, I want to join the Army." And he was like, "Well, you got to wait till your senior year, I said, "Okay, cool." But I always wanted to be in the Army. So
what made you always want to be in the Army?
Well, growing up in Wilmington, North Carolina, you're halfway between Fort Bragg and Camp Lejeune. So you got the Marines on one side and the Army on another side. It's I had two uncles, my Uncle Ben and my Uncle JC, and my uncle, both of them was in the Air Force, and they were successful men.
Mm-hmm.
One, he retired as Lieutenant Colonel, and the other retired as a Master Sergeant. So they wasn't there. And it just, the military life for anybody growing up back in the day, post-Vietnam, some people either hated the military or loved the military. Yeah. And me, I looked at it as a way out. And so...
That was your aspiration.
Yeah.
To be a military man.
So what I did, now mind you, my whole junior year, I'm working a full-time job.
Correct.
Almost at the
8 hours.
Yeah. Every night. I go to work from 2:30 to 11:30. My mom worked the same shift, so me and my mom got to be real close because we ate lunch because it was just me and my mom. So when
Hold on. So you and your mom working at the same hospital?
At the same hospital.
Okay, got it.
At the same hospital.
Close family, and working together.
Not only my mom, I had my mom worked there, and two of my aunts worked there.
Family affair.
Family affair. Okay. So now mind you, this is how you grow up fast. So I'm working a full-time job. Okay? Now, if I was a woman, society, so many men probably would have been in jail, because think about it, you got a 16-year-old kid working at the hospital that looks like a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I got exposed to life, because